When I put up 400 flyers around New York City asking people to apply to be my friend, I really was only concerned with my own sense of belonging. But what was really surprising to me about this whole thing was I actually found a lot of belonging in other people's experiences of feeling the same way as I did. I've lived in New York for about 6 years now, and to this day, I still feel like I'm trying to figure out where I fit in. The city can make you feel like you belong everywhere and nowhere at once. Like you could walk into any gathering, party, show, and just immediately meet your community. But then at the same time, you can also feel like you're constantly on the outside of things. Like everyone else already has their perfect crew, their niche, their scene that they fit into, and you're just looking in. But as I started interviewing people who responded to my questionnaire, I realized I wasn't alone in this search for belonging. Whether they were born here or moved here last year, whether they lived in K-Town or Williamsburg or the Bronx, everyone was, in their own way, trying to carve out space for themselves, trying to find their people, trying to belong.
Do you wanna be my friend?
This is the Lilly Friend Project, Episode 2, Belonging.
To be her friend, and then she interviewed them, and when she interviewed them, she saw New York City's a big, big place. Have you got a shot with the human race? Is loneliness what we've all come to expect? Midwood, Queens to 150th Street. It's Lily's Friend Project.
Almost everyone that responded to my flyers was looking for something. For Ankham, it all started with an Instagram story. Where did you find the questionnaire?
I found it through someone's Instagram story actually. So I haven't seen the poster in person. So yeah, I was like, I didn't know if it was like a scam or
Where did they post it?
It was like on their Instagram story.
Yeah, but where was it? Was it just on a telephone pole or something, or?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you saw it. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, what is this friend project? Like, I'll try taking it. And then when I went on to the questionnaire, I was like, oh my God, this is so long. Like, I didn't expect it.
Yeah. She's 26, lives in K-Town, and moved here from Laos to study at the new school. Normally, I only invited someone to the interview stage if they wrote enough to show me who they are. My logic was that I didn't want to interview anyone who didn't give me something to interview them about. Ankham's questionnaire almost made me not interview her because she wrote in this really sparse, sort of sassy way. But there was one answer in particular that really caught my interest. To the question if there was an alternate reality in which you had a debilitating, life-altering addiction, what would you be addicted to? Her answer was strawberry soju shots with a piece of pork belly marinating in it. I just thought that was so great. And so imaginative, and I could relate.
I mean, I was home during the pandemic, and I had a lot of time to think, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I was like, I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't really like my job. And for my undergrad, I did it in hospitality, which is really different to media studies and design, right?
Of course, yeah.
And I realized that I wanted to work in the creative field.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to move to New York.
It's one thing to dream about moving to New York. It's another to actually do it. Especially coming from Laos, where Ankham told me life moved at a really different pace. When she started talking about her home, I could hear both love and frustration in her voice. Yeah, do you feel like you've hung out with kind of the same group of people in Laos for a long time, or?
Yeah, because I feel like there's not it's really small there. The community is really small and everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's because of the culture too. We're more traditional and everything, right? Conservative.
Okay.
So.
Would you say you're conservative?
No.
Yeah, you don't strike me as that. That's interesting to hear.
Yeah, that's why I think I struggled a bit back home when I was living there, and I was working there because I wanted to do all these stuff. I wanted to dress whatever I wanted to, or speak my mind, but it wasn't really accepted there, I guess. Like,
Yeah, it sounds. Do you feel more free here?
yeah.
Oh.
Because like I moved here alone, like without like my family and everything.
Yeah.
But here I've been free to express myself. Like in the way I dress, the way I talk or whatever.
And Ankham really does have her own style. To give you some context, in her questionnaire, she had a lot of funny answers. Like to the question, "Why are you filling out this questionnaire?" she wrote, "Because I'm crazy." To the question, "Have you ever had an existential crisis?" she wrote, "Every day, man, my takeaway is, it is what it is." To the question, "What do you think about feminism? How did you come to that conclusion?" she wrote, "I'm all for feminism, but I'm tired of girl bossing." To the question, "What are your dreams?" she wrote, "To be rich." To the question, "Do you believe in ethical consumerism, or is it a drop in a giant well that has already been dug by multinational corporations so it doesn't matter?" she wrote, "It depends if you can afford it." While Ankham was finding her footing in K-Town, across the city in the Bronx, I met someone else who was creating his own kind of belonging. Not by leaving home, but by transforming it. This idea of escaping where you come from to become yourself, it came up again with another interviewee named Samuel. He is 24. He's a music producer who manages a recording studio in Brooklyn. Samuel entered the interview room like a tornado. He had so much energy and fire and pizzazz. He had this big, eccentric personality. It kind of seemed like he'd honestly been up partying all night. He was wearing these really bright, fun clothes, and he had this really like raspy voice. But then it was really interesting because when he sat down, he started saying these extremely insightful things and was able to eloquently paint a picture into his journey with belonging for me. His story begins in the Bronx, and it's less about leaving a place behind, but more about existing in between all these different worlds.
So my mom's from Jamaica, and my dad is from Antigua, like a Caribbean island. Yeah, so I'm half. Yeah, so I was born here. They met here. My dad's like a hairstylist, so he does like women's hair.
Oh,
And so he just like did my mom's hair one day, and he was like, "You cute."
Sometimes the most New York love stories happen in the most New York places, like a hair salon in the Bronx.
I didn't like. I felt like I spent more time familiarizing myself with the neighborhood of where my school was, and I had like a pretty disjointed connection to my actual immediate surrounding where I lived in the Bronx. So I would just go home, go to school, come home, go to school, come home. But like on the weekends, right? I mean, first of all, like everyone up there has a bike. Like the bike culture is really big. Like I loved the, and also it was very. I'm half. Well, I'm Caribbean American, and it's very Caribbean up there.
Yeah.
So I was like raised in a world surrounded by like Caribbean immigrants, and I thought we were everywhere. I was like, I cannot escape. Like my barber is Jamaican.
Samuel's world shifted when his parents sent him to private school in Riverdale, and then later to Tufts University. Each move added another layer to his experience, another world to navigate. But rather than letting these divisions define him, Samuel started creating spaces for him and others to show up and be accepted.
I mean, the way I run my studio is a little different. Two things, right? So this isn't a space for people to just come in and record and leave. It's I find the songwriting process and the song recording process to be very sacred, and that means that I treat it with a lot of care and respect and intimacy.
Talking to Ankham and Samuel, I started to see something I hadn't before. They weren't just looking for their place in New York like I was. They were actively creating entirely new spaces to belong in. Ankham had left everything she knew to find freedom to be herself, whereas Samuel had taken different aspects of himself to create a space in which he felt he finally belonged in. And maybe this is part of the magic of New York City, is that it's kind of filled with people who felt like they didn't belong where they might be from, so they come here to create something where they do. So now we have this huge city filled with misfits who have found belonging in each other. This balance between finding and creating your own space, it really reminded me of my interview with Leah. She's 30, she lives in Williamsburg, and works as a product designer. Like Ankham and Samuel, Leah's also had to reconcile her past and present senses of belonging.
I was raised modern Orthodox, which is also like very specific and probably doesn't mean much to most people, but if you know, you know. And
it's pretty conservative socially,
right? Yeah, it's pretty conservative generally, and definitely a big shaping factor in my life.
Yeah.
Growing up that way, and then kind of finding my own path after the fact.
Yes.
So that has been really interesting, you know, kind of navigating, first of all, just like finding my own path, but then also navigating my own path in Judaism and being a Jew who does not find meaning in the religious aspect, but it's still so much a part of the way I was raised and my identity, you know, culturally. So that's all been very interesting, and I feel like at this point I feel really zen about all the conclusions I've reached.
Yeah, because it is quite extreme comparatively to most Americans, how they have religion in their life. Like
absolutely, I would agree with that. You know,
you probably kept kosher, right?
I kept kosher. I kept Shabbat.
Yeah. Modesty.
I would never have been allowed to wear something like this with my titties out. Like even, you know, just going to yeshiva, which is Yiddish word for Hebrew school, like Hebrew private day school, I had to wear collars that were like up to here. And my family's a little more lax in a lot of the rules that are part of being modern Orthodox. So whenever I was at school, I would kind of get in trouble for like my skirt being slightly shorter than it was supposed to be. I would sometimes have like a shirt that didn't quite have sleeves or didn't quite meet the requirement for the collar. So I would get in trouble for that sometimes.
When Leah said this, it was really shocking. It really took me off guard, and I had to almost be chill in this moment. And just for some context, Leah entered this interview and was wearing this extremely low-cut, sexy, modern-looking dress. And for the first half hour of the interview, she just was talking about like hookup culture, her dating life, and for lack of a better term, fuckboys. So then for her to turn around and talk about this really conservative upbringing in which she would never have been allowed to wear the dress that she was wearing that day, it was a big plot twist. But what really struck me about Leah wasn't just how she had navigated so far away from these traditions, it was how she had found her way back to them on her own terms.
I have to give my parents so much credit because they really did choose to love me for who I am and want the best for me, even if that means I choose something that they don't like. They would rather see me happy.
It's complicated for everyone.
Yeah, it's complicated for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think that freedom allows me to choose what I want, and it's allowed me to have my own personal relationship with Judaism and the Jewish community because I'm not forced.
The way Leah talked about choice, it wasn't about rejection or acceptance, but about finding a middle ground. I saw this play out when she told me about going to her sister's Passover Seder.
For example, like I went to one of my older sister's houses for a Passover Seder this week, and it was great. I got to enjoy these things on my terms.
What Leah found through spirituality, Samuel found through music. Like Leah redefining her relationship with tradition, Samuel was taking familiar pieces of his life, his Caribbean roots, his experience straddling different worlds, and creating something entirely new with them. Not just a recording studio, but a place that reflected everything he'd learned in the different worlds he'd been a part of.
I expect my clients to be open to my critique and to my suggestions musically. They don't have to incorporate anything I say into their songs, but when I say, hey, like try recording it like this, or like try the harmony in this direction and not that direction, let's just hear how it sounds, we don't gotta keep it. 8 times out of 10, they're like, that was actually good, can we keep that? And I'm like, Yeah, I'm decent at what I do. Yes.
He even changed how he charges people, prioritizing the relationship over the transaction.
The way I like charge my clients is like normal studios charge per hour of time you're in there, like 50 an hour or 40 an hour. I charge I do a monthly subscription, so like
Sick.
yeah, so like you give me like 200 up front like for the month, and I'll give you 4 sessions for the whole month. And people get antsy about how much time is left, but it's like if you pay me already, I don't mind going over. Like any time I spend to go over, like you've already paid me, so I'm taking the time out of my day. So it's like, don't worry about it.
The intention of this project was never to set out to make some sort of grand statement about connection or belonging in New York City. I literally just wanted to make new friends. I put up those flyers because I felt alone, and I thought other people might feel alone too.
I've been trying to be more intentional with my friends this year, like putting more effort and time into people that I actually want to hang out and maintain friendships with. So yeah.
Because you're in a new place, kind of, and you're starting over, or?
Yeah, and I also like don't want to waste time with people who I don't really like vibe with or anything. And I feel like there's so many like people, interesting people in New York too. So I've been like excited to meet new people.
Through hearing everyone's stories, Ankham leaving everything she knew, Samuel creating his studio space, Leah finding her own way back to tradition, I started to feel less alone. Not because they solved my problem, but because I saw pieces of myself in their struggles, their searching, their ways of carving out space. Looking back, I can see now that my feeling of not belonging was actually my ego trying to protect me, convincing me I was different and special as a way to cope with feeling left out. But that protection became a wall between me and everyone else. The more I tried to stand apart to avoid the pain of not belonging, the more I actually separated myself from the very connections I was seeking. What I've learned about belonging is both simpler and more profound than I expected. It's not about finding the perfect place where you already fit or being special enough to be included. It's about recognizing that you're already part of this vast web of people creating lives worth belonging to, and then joining in that creation yourself. The Lilly Friend Project was created and hosted by me, Lily Hogan. It was post-produced, edited, and sound designed by Noreen Mullick. The theme music was created and performed by Bridge Gamble. Special thanks to Ankham, Samuel, and Leah. If you liked this podcast, please head on over to your platform of choice and rate and review us. It really makes a difference. Additionally, we're on TikTok and Instagram, just the show title, so you can just type that into those platforms. And also, I created a secondary questionnaire which I put on the website. Again, lilyfriendproject.com. It's just the show title.com. And there you can fill out this secondary questionnaire, which will automatically spit you out into a Discord community where we'll be doing live events and just generally trying to build community the Lilly Friend Project way. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.